just for the YouTube views. Whoa! Yeah, that's definitely, Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going over the all-new 2022 Lucid Air Dream Edition. First and foremost though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Southtown Tim Daly Nissan for giving me some time with this Lucid. I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below where you can check out this Lucid and a ton of other cool vehicles as well. They are literally the capital of EVs here in Utah. They have more electric vehicles than literally any other dealership in the state. I don't know how, but it somehow happened this way. They also have the new Nissan product as well if you're interested in that. Like I said, link to their inventory in the description down below. And then as always, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below as well. Let's get into the video. So we're actually going to start things off with the key fob, which I find very, very fascinating because it's very minimalist in terms of its appearance. And I'm pretty sure I figured it out. So one tap and that'll lock the car. You guys can see it is already locked. Okay. Double tap and that'll unlock the car. Okay. And then if I hold this down, that pops the frunk. Okay. So far, pretty straightforward, all built into the same button, which is crazy. Hold it down again, and then that'll lower down the frunk. And then what I found is if I double tap and then hold down, that pops the trunk. So yeah, kind of complicated. Let me know if I got any of those wrong in the comment section down below, but I'm pretty sure I got them all right. And you can see that's going back down. So yeah, that's the first part, that's the key fob. Now, before we dive into the rest of the car, let's quickly go over the performance features. So we have 1,111 horsepower with the Dream Edition, 471 miles of driving range, a 118 kilowatt hour battery pack, and then 2 electric motors. Now back to that handy dandy key fob. So hold that down so that we can look at the Frunk, which I think is super practical here for a large size sedan. You guys can see tons of storage space, and we've got this nice leather strap right here that if you lift that up, then you've got even more storage space underneath, which is pretty cool. And then you guys can see the little button right there to lower that down. And then notice we have our Air logo right there. And so we'll just press this button and then that'll lower it right back down. Now the next thing I want to go over is the front end of the Lucid Air. So first off, I'm going to press the key fob twice, which will unlock it. And you guys can see we have this cool light show. I love the appearance of the lights. Full LEDs, looks fantastic. If I lock it, it gives us another cool little light show. I know that some of you might see that as gimmicky, but I don't know. I think it's cool, and it definitely just sets the stage for what this car is going for. Now you guys can see here with the little vent pieces there on the hood, they are actually functional. We got our Lucid logo right there. We already kind of took a look at the lights, and then you guys can see parking sensors integrated into the front end, and then notice the trim is blacked out here. And I can tell you right now, being someone that has reviewed quite a few EVs in my day so far, including the Tesla Model S Plaid, I'd have to say I think this is the best looking EV sedan on the market right now. Coming around the side here, we've got 245mm tires wrapped around 21-inch wheels in the front, and then 265mm tires wrapped around 21-inch wheels in the rear. And then you guys can see the design on the wheel. Notice how we have that bright silver to make it look like the wheel is pretty open, but you guys can see right next to that we've got blacked out trim, which is mostly closed off, and this is for aerodynamic purposes to help out with getting that 471 miles of driving range. And then you guys can see here with the trim on the bottom, notice we've got some blacked out trim as well. We've got the pop-out door handles. If I step back far enough, the car should lock itself. Probably won't. But anyways, you guys can see here from a side view perspective, definitely a cool looking car. I love the design here of the roof, how it's slightly different in coloration to the rest of the car. This has this kind of like futuristic retro type design. Okay, so again, press this a couple times and then hold it down. There we go. It took a second. I think I confused it. Maybe, like I said, maybe I'm not doing that right. Anyways, you guys can see here with the trunk area, super like practical. It's enormous, and we've got this little thing we can lift up. And that's the cool thing about EVs is they just have tons of storage space, and I love how they're like leather handles for everything, even here on the side. And so, yeah, and by the way, that's just a bag in the back if you guys are wondering. It's just the cool thing about EVs, it's just tons of practicality. And then there's a little button right here that we can press, and that'll lower the trunk right back down. And by the way, that wasn't like the fully opened function, that was just partially open. Now of course we got to go over the light show here in the rear, so we're going to one tap and that will lock the car, and then we're going to double tap to unlock the car. So not as fancy as the front, but still it's kind of cool how it just like all comes out in a line. And then notice how this is slightly curved for aerodynamic purposes. And then you guys can see parking sensors here on the rear. And yeah, other than that, it says air here on the side, as you guys can see. And there's the rear. That's pretty fancy. Dream Edition. Now popping inside, this is where things get really fancy. So you guys can see here with the trim, then notice the stitching that goes across, and over here is soft touch as well. I love kind of like the two-tone design. Notice it says Lucid Dream Edition right there. And look at this trim too, and also the door handles inside are pretty interesting. It's just a little button. Now this one does have rubber floor mats, which is definitely nice because it just rained like literally 5 minutes ago. But anyways, really spacious back here. This is similar to like a Mercedes-Benz S-Class in terms of the space. Way more spacious than the Tesla Model S, for example. Notice here with the vent on the side, and you guys can see the little storage space here. And then we have our own little area. So like I've got like the sunshade here. Notice how you can extend that whole setup and it'll pop right open. It's kind of cute. And then you can stow it as well. Same thing with the screen. And then it's cool that you have the heated seats here in the back. Pretty easy to use, I think. Yeah, there we go, pretty easy to use. And then if we pull this down, you guys can see it's like a little storage cubby. And then there's this little thing right here, just kind of click that latch. And this is kind of like our little center console cup holder armrest situation. But the biggest thing is I just really like the look of the seats back here. As you can see, and they're really comfortable. You guys can see with the padding on them, just very plush. And even here, it's kind of like padded, so it just all looks really nice, and tons of windows. As you can see, it kind of just brighten up the interior, including the gigantic glass roof here at the top. Anyways, let's head to the front. Now here is the front door panel. You guys can see from a material standpoint, it's just absolutely fantastic. Here's a quick look at the mirrors. They do have blind spot monitoring. And then you guys can see down below, a little bit different in terms of the material use compared to the rear, especially with this trim right here. So they kind of mix things up. And then you can see here around the window controls, everything fit and finish wise looks fantastic. And then again with the door handle, notice it says Lucid Dream Edition. And then you guys can see here with the front seat, notice perforated all down the center portion. And then here are the power adjustments. Sorry about the lighting for that last shot. Pretty normal with the pedals. And you got the rubber floor mats. Notice it says Motor Trend on it. That's kind of funny. And then you guys can see the original floor mats. That's really cool. It's like plush leather and carpet. Anyways, let's pop in. Now here is the steering wheel for the Lucid Air. You guys can see again, material use is fantastic. You got these two little controls right here that control different items. So right now this one does volume, for example, but just like Teslas and everything, you go into the infotainment system and then you set it to control different items and all that. And then notice here for like our cruise control, for example, and then like your voice command button. And then we have a regular turn signal windshield wiper stock, thank goodness. And then we do have a column shifter, just like Mercedes-Benz actually. And well, there's the steering wheel. Now I'd just like to mention, this looks really cool from just like a material and design standpoint, but we do have this side screen right here. So for like the lock and unlock of the vehicle, and then you guys can see all of the light controls and then some stuff for the climate system, as well as like the windshield wipers and everything, just all here on the side in a little touchscreen thing that's connected to the main screen that's connected to the other touchscreen. And by the way, this is not a touchscreen. I'm just gonna lightly tap to show you guys that, well, it's not. Speaking of the center gauge cluster, I feel like it's pretty simplistic with the design and everything just makes sense. Like it shows you the charge at the bottom. And then whether you're in park, reverse, neutral, or drive, you of course have the Air logo off to the side. But yeah, I like the overall format of it, and I think that it looks great. Now the big thing here is the infotainment system. So if we pop it into reverse, you guys can see I've got a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel, and then notice how I can change the viewpoint to show the front as well. And then we have a surround view camera here, so you guys can just literally see every camera angle you want on the car with this whole surround view camera system. So it's on two different screens, which again, definitely something that would take you a second to get used to. And it seems like maybe I'm not pressing the right button, because it's like sometimes it's lagging, sometimes it's kind of not. But you can also just press the camera view points to like just shortcut to certain viewpoints. Anyways, it's a great camera system, and it has auto park too. Wow, that's pretty cool. Now, as for the rest of the infotainment system, this is kind of like your media infotainment system, if that makes sense. So this is where you're gonna go through stuff like your music and everything, and you guys can see like you can add different profiles to it, and you also have like the little shortcuts here off to the side, so I can go to like the navigation, and that will show up here on this screen as well, and on this screen too. It's like double. I don't understand the point of that, having two different navigation screens, but it has it, so it kind of doubled down with some of the controls. But I could see someone that owns this would kind of use this thing for like the media side of things, but then you could also just use this screen for everything, because you can see every time I press something here, it pops up down there. Now, before we get to down there, you guys can see we've got analog buttons for the climate system, which I really appreciate that we actually have some analog buttons in this car. So for example, if I want to turn down the fan speed here, then I can very easily do that. And also if I want to do the temperature change, I can very easily do that with these controls. So definitely really appreciate that Lucid did that. Now, going here to the behemoth of a screen that is at the bottom portion. First off, you can literally swipe the screen away if you want. So you just gotta do that, and the screen goes bye-bye. And then you just press this button here, and then it brings the screen back. Don't want that wire to get in the way. Now, as for this screen, this is like the main control screen is kind of where I see it. Again, there's a lot of stuff that gets mimicked between both of the screens, but basically you guys can see here with the adjustments, like for example with the steering wheel, I just press this, and then I can just hold this down, and then it'll adjust the steering wheel here on the screen. So pretty easy to use. We've got our drive modes here. We have our smooth, swift, and then we have our sprint mode. You have to confirm that you want to go into that mode. They're like, are you sure you want that much power? And you can see other openings here, like the trunk and the frunk. And the first time I reviewed a Lucid, I said, oh, I don't think it has a glove box. I'm an idiot. It does. The button was, well, right there in front of me. And then you guys can see here with these seats, all of the different adjustments. There's a ton of different adjustments. There's even a massaging function as well. And then you guys can see the themes. This is my favorite part about the Lucid Air, is you have all these different themes, and this just changes like the whole screen theme up here. So for example, I love outer space, so we can change to like an outer space theme. And so yeah, pretty cool setup with that. And then obviously important stuff like the charging. You guys can see we're at 83%, and you can do like your preconditioning, and then you can open up the charge port, for example, which we'll do right now. And you guys can see right here on the driver's side, the charge port's open. Now, as soon as I start talking about charging, my camera died. Funny. That's really funny. Anyways, you guys can see we've got some more storage space here. We've got the whole center console set up. And then here at the top, you guys can see the mirror. And we've got this crazy glass front windshield, which, yeah, there's quite a bit going on. I do need to mention that obviously if you get a crack in this windshield, that means that you have to get it replaced by Lucid, because it's not just a normal front windshield, and that's kind of a thing with EVs. And also you have this cool little line here that goes down the center, and I really like the material use here at the top, and even like the grab handles there in the back, which kind of hard to see. There you go. Nice material use all over. Now, this is the original window sticker. I do need to mention this does not represent current market value. This is what the car costs brand new. I don't know what the current market value is on the Lucid Airs. I just review the cars. Anyways, you guys can see here with the standard equipment that comes with the Dream Edition. So notice that we have our Air Dream Edition right here, and then we've got the 21-inch wheels as optional. So I guess the Dream Edition is optional on just a regular Lucid Air. Anyways, you guys can see base price here, and then total MSRP, $170,500. I think this is pretty interesting. You guys can see what it says here on the sticker as the stated range. And then notice 13 hours with a 240 volt to fully charge it, which actually isn't bad at all for a car that has this much range. And anyways, let's take it out and drive it. Let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility over the hood, which is actually really solid. And then both of the mirrors, which do have blind spot monitoring, and then throughout the rest of the rear. And something that I like is this car, like with the key, I just get in and everything just works every single time. I don't have to like do any weird swiping things and stuff like I have to do with Teslas. Just saying. But anyways, let's head out. Okay, so before we set off, I realized that I just made an oopsie earlier in the video because I was just double checking the window sticker. This is the Dream Edition range. So that's why this has a higher range than I stated at the beginning of the video, and this doesn't have 1100 horsepower. This has 933. Sorry about that, but I'm correcting it later in the video. And you know what? I'm probably gonna leave like the initial thing at the beginning of the video because, well, it applies to the other Dream Edition, and we always got to make me look stupid. Like that's part of the Ben Hardy channel, is if I don't look stupid, then, you know, I'm doing something wrong. Anyways, let's actually get up and start going here in this Dream Edition range. So first off, super seamless, just like most electric vehicles, because you don't have any, I mean, it's fully electric, so you don't have any lag with anything. It's just instant with the power. Very smooth. So I'm in the smooth mode. Gosh, you can't make this up. Lucid's smart, right? It's so funny. I'm like, ooh, the smooth mode feels smooth. Man, I give the best possible information for you guys from a driving perspective. But seat comfort's really good. Massaging seat definitely coming in clutch right now after a long work day. And yeah, ride quality is really good too. This drives like super normal. It feels like, man, I'm gonna get killed by Mercedes people for saying this. This feels like a Mercedes S-Class, but fully electric, which I know the EQS is supposed to be that, but also the EQS doesn't have the range that this has. That person just ran a red light. And the EQS also does not have the looks that this has as well. Now I'm going to pop into the Swift mode to see kind of how the difference is. The smooth mode, you can definitely feel that the pedals, like it's being held back quite a bit, because again, 900 horsepower is still a monstrous amount. Yeah, still really smooth. Definitely I can feel more, like when I press down the pedal though, I can definitely feel more happening in terms of the acceleration. Really quiet interior too. You hear a little bit of whirring from the motor, the electric motors. And there's a little bit of tire noise. But other than that, it's a pretty nice experience from a driving perspective. Ooh, it's got a turn signal camera. That's pretty cool. The turn signal sound though, that is weird. What in the world are they thinking? Now I'm gonna pop into the sprint mode. Yes, confirm. I want to go fast, Lucid. Let me go fast. So funny you have to confirm before you get into a drive mode. It's like this is going to scramble your brains because, well, that's what happens with all of these EVs. Okay, well, now that the traffic has slightly gone away, but not really, we're gonna get a little acceleration here. Woo! Wow! That is so slow. I'm kidding. Yeah, there's it's kind of different points in the pedal, that's for sure. You can kind of like partially press down and it's like fast, and then you can fully press down and then it's like mega fast. I like this pedal modulation a little bit more than other EVs that I've driven in the past, just because it's more reasonable. I know it sounds weird. It's a 900 horsepower EV. Also, look at that Ferrari. You know, the funny thing is that Boomer in his drop top Ferrari would get smoked in a race by us with this Lucid. Just saying. Shout out to the Boomers and their Ferraris. Yeah, I like how predictable that is. Okay, so there's quite a bit of traffic, so I'm not gonna really be able to get like a perfect acceleration here. There is an area up here in a little bit that I should be able to get a slightly better acceleration. It looks like everyone's trying to turn off. I just want to be careful. I don't want to like fly by these cars and then someone pull off, obviously, to the side. Woo! Well, that's how we roll. That's how we get past the lines. Man, that is crazy quick. My goodness. It's a good thing that everyone's trying to merge onto the highway so that this lane here is clear for us. Wow, that is like a head rush, just like a Tesla Model S Plaid. And this is the range version. This isn't even the 1100 horsepower version. It's still ridiculous. I'd have to say this is, I mean, in my opinion, this is more than enough. Now I'm purposefully going slow here so we can get one more before we exit the interstate, just for you guys, just for the YouTube views. Whoa! Yeah, that's definitely, that is something else. My goodness. Oh. Well, now that I can think again after that acceleration, I'd have to say I like this thing a lot. I really do. Yeah, let's sum things up here with this Air Dream Edition range. And sorry for the mix-up early in the video with messing up the stats. I thought this was just the regular Dream Edition. Good thing I looked at the window sticker though, guys. Good thing I looked at the window sticker. Anyways, I think it looks amazing on the outside. Interior is amazing as well. like just fantastic. It's insanely fast. I feel like that goes without saying. It is insanely fast, and it's got really good range. Honestly, this is by far the best EV sedan that I have driven to date. The only thing going against this is the fact that Lucid is a newer company. They don't have Tesla's supercharger network, but obviously there's been talks of Tesla opening up the supercharger network to other manufacturers, and you know, there's more and more building out of a just national charging network here in the US as well. And so with all that taken into account, this is such it's so fast. This is such a cool EV. I really like this. I really do like this. It's my favorite EV. And you know, once the charging network is like fully set up where you can get just as much charging access with this as a Tesla, I don't see any point in getting a Tesla, because like, this looks better. It's just as quick to accelerate. It's just as exciting to drive. The interior is way nicer. This feels way more special. Like, literally all Tesla has going for them now is that charging network. That's gonna sum things up for our video on this Lucid Air Dream Edition. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Southtown Tim Daly Nissan for giving me some time with this Lucid. Check out the intro in the description down below. I'll see ya.